Okay, I got an experiment going here. I heat treated this. I think it was 475. I'm pretty sure. I heated this flake that came off of this nodule. I put a question mark because I wasn't sure, but I'm pretty sure right now that it is 475. Okay, so I'm going to nap this heat treat. See how good it works. I haven't tried it yet. There's some other pieces that I knocked off of there, but I can't find them in the heat treat. The only one I could find for sure was this one. This one here, I think also came off of that nodule, but I'm not sure. It's very difficult to nap in the raw state. It's almost like Rhyolite. So let me see how good it is now. I don't know what kind of chert it is, but I have a feeling it's like Fort Hood type chert. Now you can't gather the chert at Fort Hood anymore, as far as I know. There was a time where you could just pick it up, as long as you had access. But these days, I don't know. I don't think they allow the same type of access that they used to. Anyway, I'm sure there are other places you can find this chert. Okay. Still kind of tough. But it's much smoother. Yeah, this is rough here. It's not that rough really, but this is smoother for sure. There's not much color change. But the heat treat is a little more mellow. This one is a gray, right? Just a very straight looking gray. Almost an artificial looking gray. But this has a deeper color, and it's a little more earthy after you heat treat it. It can probably go hotter than 475. I can probably take it up to 550. So let me just get rid of the question mark. All right, so that's 475. Okay, so let's see. It's still a little tough, in my opinion, so I'm going to do needs 550. Okay. All right, so that's one experiment. This is going to be a miscellaneous video of a bunch of different stuff. Let's see, I don't know. I'm not sure if that came off of this. I got some other things I want to work with. This is a heat treat here. This is also 475. Let's do this one first. It's some of the lowest quality chert I have in my in my yard. From the days that I used to go collect this stuff, and from the times when friends of mine would give me chert that they didn't want to work, or that they had plenty to share. Yeah. This one's easier than the last one. Yeah, I can get some nice thin flakes. Okay, so let's see. It's not really a spall, it's not really a nodule, so I call these spodules. They're not that easy to nap. Especially if they have cracks. I wanted to try to skin that off. Maybe I could get some colorful or banded chert from the cortex. I was trying to hit here and I ended up hitting there, so I hit with this side by accident. Interesting stuff. Let's see. These are the first things I've napped today, so I need to get warmed up. Yeah, interesting stuff. So, let's see. I'd be better off, I think, even though this is a shorter piece, to preserve this instead of trying to preserve this side. Try to preserve the other side. Oh, I might be able to make this the point and then trim off all this bad stuff. Yeah. Okay, let's do that. Well, maybe that's the point. Why did I hit downward like that? I just wanted to make sure that it was solid, and if it was, it would just take off what I was trying to flake. If it wasn't solid, it breaks, right? So it was not solid. There was a natural crack in there, so it's good to know where those are. I think there's another natural crack right in here. Yeah. So I might be able to get something out of that one. Let's biface these down. I can get something out of this one, I'm pretty sure. Although it's a lot smaller than I anticipated. Nice. Now I feel like I should be working some of that coastal plain stuff, or keep working the coastal plains because it's so nice. What am I doing working on stuff like this? Well, it's because I'm taking advantage of the opportunity now that I'm here to do a lot of heat treat, and this is what I got. I don't have a lot of the fancy stuff. Yeah, normally I do this with indirect percussion, but I'm trying to improve my direct percussion skills because I have a feeling I'm going to need them coming up for some things that I want to be doing. Yeah. This is okay. Still a little tough, but you know, it's better to have it a little on the tough side than too crackly. So this is a heat treat. This is a 475. And good. All right. I'll keep it over here with other bifaces. Let's see what the other one looks like. Yeah, too many issues. This is natural crack here, a natural seam. Although I could do a smaller point out of it. Yeah, it's all right. Not the best, but it's all right. Some of the really bad stuff becomes really, really good. This, however, is not that. Okay, this is a raw stone. This one here, yeah, this is how I usually find stones when I collect them myself on the surface. Sometimes when you drive by, I collect these on the side of the road. There's dirt roads where I can go down, and sometimes I can find these. And you can see sometimes the sun shines off of one of these facets, and it's easy to see. If it's like this, and it's mostly covered, it just looks like limestone. You can't really tell. So when the graders come through and make a dirt road, right, and they start piling stuff up on the sides, these will flip over. They won't be like this. They'll flip over, and then you can see the facets. Just in case you're curious how I identify these from other stones, because it looks like it's not useful on that side. Just like any other limestone on that side. And, you know, I miss a lot too when I go looking for rocks, because some of them are just like this, and I pass them over because I can't see what's underneath. Or they're not broken at all. Yeah, this does not look too promising. Although this looked okay, right? You start getting into it, and it's not promising. Sometimes it'll break in nature in a spot that's flakeable. You know, some kind of stress will cause it to crack, but it'll crack where it's able to crack. And you'll think the whole stone is the good stuff. Where in reality, it's just the easy to flake stuff that flaked. Now, underneath the cortex looks okay, so if I can skin this nasty stuff off, just leave that cortex on top, that might work. A lot of guys won't bother with it, but if this is all you got, then that's all you got. So yeah, some of this is good. Like this brownish looking stuff is better than that. So I mean, this, if you were napping this as your only supply of stone, you know, you would take this stuff off and nap the other stuff. Get rid of the stuff on this side. Heat treat it. Yeah, it's good for heat treating. How do I know? Because it's kind of grainy. It's kind of grainy, which usually makes a good heat treat. Usually, not always, but usually. It may take a lot of heat, you know, like 550 to 600, but I'd put that in with the stuff that needs 550. Let's see. Do I have one? Yeah, I'm going to put that in with the stuff that needs 550. With this one that I just napped. I could mark on it. This would be the smart thing to do. Now, in a perfect world, I'd probably just take it up to 400 and see how it works at 400 and not go straight to 550. But it's too many batches. You know, if I can stick it into a batch that might work, I'll just do that so I don't have so many batches. Because you can get really particular with this stuff and use up a lot of electricity, a lot of time. I don't have much of either. Yeah. Or I don't want to spend much of either. Let's put it that way. Now this top piece, I might save that separately and just nap it raw. If I can get all this bothering stuff off of there, I'll nap it raw. Unless it starts giving me trouble, then I'll put it in the heat treat. And if it ends up being a good biface, I will start it at 400. But I'll save it, and I might not be able to get back to it for about a year. For example, because I gotta wait till I have a bunch of other stuff I'm gonna heat treat at 400. Most of the stuff now I'm heating higher than 400. Yeah. Some of that stuff is good. Yeah, it looks like it'll nap nicely in a raw state. I wish I could skim it off in a more predictable way, but I had to take that off so I can have a striking platform, because it's not really good to strike on the cortex to try to get a long flake. I'm trying to get a long flake like that, and that's trash. Yeah, this is trash. This is concrete. Not good. So yeah, I gotta try to remove it all, or as much as I can. Yeah, another crack rears its ugly head. It looks like it might be deep. That crack might be deep, which is unfortunate. I can use these for little bitty arrowheads, but I got lots of that stuff. But just so you know, if this is all you got, you can save those little pieces that come off for little arrowheads. Why am I skinning that off? Just so I can see what's underneath. See if it's worth preserving. It looks like it's pretty good still. I don't know how far that crack goes. So I'll find out here in a minute. I'm getting ready for a big flake removal, hopefully. It's good. But that's trash. But I can still raise that to 550. Let's see. Yeah. It might respond at 400, but I'm going to tick it up to 550. Or I can go back and just change that if I see that I made a mistake. I'm not going to do a 550. Let's bring it back down to 400. I'll just remark it with some other value, some other temperature. Just because I marked it at 550 doesn't mean it needs to stay there. Stay marked that way. I can change it. Now, would it be better to heat treat this and then try to skin that off? Maybe, but a heat treatment could open up this crack and make it go all the way across, where I can remove that crack now and then heat treat, and it won't expand into that area. The danger with heat treat is that it can expand existing cracks, and obviously that's not good. Figures it's right in the middle. Yeah. It doesn't seem to realize that cracking in half is a very common occurrence. So if you got a natural crack right in the middle, right in the halfway point, not only does it happen often, it wants to crack in the middle. This particular one, it wants to crack in the middle because it's got a crack already there. Yeah, this material's not too bad there. Hard hit coming up. Did it do it? Did it do anything good? Yeah, it napped through the good stuff, but then it hit the concrete and it petered out. It didn't skin off what I wanted to skin off, but it revealed that that seam might go much deeper than I thought. Yeah. Series of little disappointments. What is it doing? It's looking a little bit less nasty now, huh? We shall see. Luckily, that concrete's not that bad to nap through. It's a lot like quartzite, which is a little bit easier to nap through than the typical concrete. Now, is there a name for what that concrete stuff is? I probably knew that at one time. I forgot. I don't know. It just looks like concrete and naps like concrete. So if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, that's what I'm going to call it. Still got Crackiola pudding. Yeah. It's not good. That was a big rock too, huh? Yeah. Oh well. Look at all that nasty stuff. It's all, in this case, I don't think I could have napped it any better and preserved more of it than just this one biface. Because this is like on the surface. I had to nap away all the nasty stuff. So in this case, preserving it for this biface, or the end goal being just one biface, happens to be compatible with that particular stone, because the rest of it was nasty. So it doesn't matter if I waste it all. Doesn't matter if it's just a big pile of nasty chips. Doesn't matter. Can't use it. In that case, you want to try to maximize it for one biface. It's justifiable. You can justify it. But in many cases, when it's all nice stone, and you try to nap it for just one biface, you're going to waste a lot. And I was asked, why did they do that? Because they did it back in the day. They would just look for one biface out of that piece of stone, and if they didn't get it, they just toss everything. Why would they do that back in the day? Weren't they concerned with conservation of resources and intelligent use of what's available in the environment? Yep, I think they did do that, but there's also a little thing called being greedy. Yeah. They want a big blade, and they're going to get one. And they're going to sacrifice all that stuff for their greed in wanting a big blade. It's an irrational thing. It's important to learn to be rational. It's part of learning to survive better. You can survive if you're not rational, but you can survive better if you're rational. So I bet you, many times they'd go back and say, yeah, I remember a bunch of rock I broke up a long time ago that I was looking for a big blade. I just left it there. Let's see if it's still there. And they go back, and a lot of it was picked up by other people. And they go, dang it, I should have made a bunch of smaller ones. Live and learn. Because now I don't have nothing. Yep. And nothing says every tribe survived, or every person that napped was a good survivor. They made dumb decisions. They may not have survived well. Well, I'm not saying that going for big blades is a dumb thing, because it's not. A big blade is very useful. But when you're greedy about it, and you just ruin a bunch of stuff to try to get it, it's not too smart. You're gonna have to wait till that opportune time where you can spall off a big nice flake and then make your blade out of that. But it may take a long time to find that nice perfect nodule that you can spall off a big old 14-inch flake. Big old. What's the difference between a flake and a spall? Just the way it looks, basically. Just a spall is more bulky than a flake, and it's bigger in size than most flakes. This is a very subjective category. Spalls and flakes. Spalls can be flakes, but not all flakes are spalls. That sort of thing. It's subjective, you know. Many spalls contain cortex, so that's one way to differentiate. Flakes can contain cortex as well, but most of the time when you're flaking, you've already got rid of the cortex. You remove some big spalls and get rid of the cortex and do the flaking without the cortex. So most of these flakes are not going to have cortex. So you can differentiate them that way, but it's not always relevant. It doesn't always work. So there really isn't much of a difference between a spall and a flake, other than size and shape and bulkiness. Then you get into spodules where, you know, it looks like a nodule, but you've spalled part of it off, or you spalled it a big old nodule, but it still looks like part of the nodule because it's got a lot of cortex and it's bulky. So it's a spall, but it's also part of the nodule. So I'd call it a spodule. Or it's a nodule that's been partially spalled or partially flaked. It still looks like a nodule, but it's got some flakes taken off. I will call those spodules too, because they're kind of a hybrid, in a hybrid state. All right, so this one is almost ready for making into something, although I just kind of messed it up. I'm trying to take down this side here so I can get to that crack and see how bad it is. And also, I need to flake away more of that concrete. But I need to remove some off the ends first. I'm not being very successful in trimming down the ends. Let's see. Yeah, at this stage, I probably want to heat treat it. Yeah. Probably, because I don't know. I can make something out of it in the raw state. But it would be so much nicer, I think, as a heat treat. Because I'm biased. Yeah. I have a bias toward working heat treat. Because you can do some amazing things if you get into a situation where you got a damage control, I'd much rather damage control on the heat treat than try it on the raw. Yeah. And this is inconsistent. Some of it is really tough. Some of it is really nice. A heat treat will even out the consistency. Yeah, so let me do this here. Let me see. I'll be gentle with this one, and I'll put in somewhere where I know it's going to be removed. Needs 400. Somewhere where I know this mark is going to be removed. Needs 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'll stick it with the 400s. Do I have one? No. I gotta start a new pile of needs 400s. This is the same stone, so what I'll do is this. Put these together. Right? That was the same rock? Yeah, it's the same rock too. I'm not going to heat that. Nope, not going to heat that one. What else do I have? I think that's it for now. Yeah, let me get some other stuff. All right.